Good evening and welcome back to the Rory Talks Football channel, your daily Arsenal news, updates, debates and my opinions. If you're new to the channel, please do subscribe, bottom right hand corner. The next target is 4,200 subscribers. If you could help me get there, it would be massively appreciated. I hope you've all had a fantastic day. We're off the mark, it's Tuesday, and there's plenty for us to get into. I want to talk about Thomas Partey, where and is he going? Where's he going? Balogun, some comments came out after the stream last night that I wasn't particularly impressed with. Lots of rumours going around Twitter and social media today. Joao Felix, Moises Caicedo, Tchouameni still. Are any of them actually possible? We'll talk a bit about that as well. Obviously, we'll have Guess the Gooner. But there we go. I hope you're all well. Leo the Gooner, George, Ross, Kieran, Nathan. Good to see you. Good to see you. Five-a-side result. Let me put that up so I come back to it. I've got a lot to say about five-a-side. Why? So for some reason, comments on TikTok aren't working. I don't know why. I can only apologise. For some reason, comments aren't working. If you want to get involved in the chat and you're watching on TikTok, my YouTube is linked in my bio. Head over, get in the YouTube chat. It's better anyway. Where would Felix fit in? I think he could play off the right. I think he's an option that could play off the right and down the middle. Penguin, good to see you. SAS does stuff. Good to see you as well. TikTok's in subs only mode. How do you turn it off subs only mode? How do you do that? Oh, no, it says sub only live is off. I don't know. TikTok, look. If you're trying to talk on TikTok, I can only apologise. I don't know what the issue is. Right, five-a-side result. Big result. Massive result. We won. Top of the table. Turns out they're a bunch of farmers. Beat them 6-3. Unfortunately, I think I have cracked a rib. I got someone proper dug an elbow into my ribs. And I went down. I was winded. And I hate getting winded because you look like such a flannel. So I'm lying there on the floor, and everyone goes, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And you can't say anything, and I'm like some sort of, and I'm down, and I left, and then last night I basically didn't sleep. I've been crippled. I don't think I've broken it. I don't really know what a broken rib feels like, but I think I might have cracked one or something. It's not good. But the key thing was we won, and they were a disgrace. They were a disgrace to the five-a-side league that I play in. Because normally, right, our five-a-side, look, it's not a good standard. It's very casual and it's very friendly. And these lot turned up, and I think they're rugby players or something. And they're used to winning, clearly, because they're top of the league. They moved from a different league to join our league because they weren't winning the other league. And basically, when they started losing, they started getting just unnecessarily aggressive. You know, leaving elbows in rib cages and stuff like that. So, but they got beaten comfortably. A 6-3 win, 2 goals for yours truly. You're more injury prone than Wilshere, Diaby and Santi. Honestly, I think I might actually have an issue. I do actually think I might have some sort of like degenerative disorder because the amount I get injured at the moment is absolutely ridiculous. Seb says, who should I get on the back of my shirt? You can choose. I already have Ødegaard and Saka. So you've already got Ødegaard and Saka. Surely Declan Rice. Do you know what? Do you know why I think you get Declan Rice? It's a safe bet that he's going to be at Arsenal for a long time, I think. I'll go Declan Rice. What's the possibility of getting Tchouameni? We'll talk about that, but I don't think it's particularly high. Are you going to wake up to watch the Arsenal games in the US? I think so. The only one that I might not get up to watch is... Well, I will get up. The only one that I might not stream is the Barcelona one, because it's 3:30 in the morning. So, I saw on Twitter you hate the new shirt, but it's beginning to go on me. Nah, George, I hate it. And look, I like the idea behind the new shirt. I can't get behind it. You're just soft, mate, says David. I am. It's... Honestly, since moving to London, I think it's just turned me into a bag of dough. Isn't the MLS 3:30 as well? No, I don't think so. I think it's just the Barcelona game that's 3:30. There's one that's at like 10. Lee Play says, love your content, looking forward to the season coming, you Gunners. Well, I appreciate it, Lee. Thank you very much. So, on Thomas Partey, Steiger's just asked if Partey leaves, or he says if Partey leaves, I think we should 2 midfielder and 1 forward. I don't think we've got enough to do that at this point. But on Thomas Partey, this came from Sky this afternoon. It's kind of what we already knew. There's lots of interest in Thomas Partey. If Arsenal receive a suitable offer, they will allow him to leave. Arsenal have already started doing due diligence on potential replacements should it be needed. So, in theory, if we do lose Thomas Partey, or if we sell Thomas Partey for a reasonable fee, we will be ready to go after someone straight away. It won't be one of those where it's like you've lost a player and then you've got to figure out who you want to replace them with. If the new away shirt was the reverse, so black base with green stripes, it wouldn't be so awful. Potentially. I don't know. I don't like the luminous lime green kind of yellowy colour. I just think it's awful. Caicedo ASAP. Yes, we will talk about Caicedo because I think that Fofana injury that came out today is quite may have an effect on that, on whether we can go for Caicedo. Who's a midfielder option that isn't being spoken about? Good question. I mean, my focus has always really been on, obviously, either the 2 big boys, Tchouameni and Caicedo, or then someone like Lavia. But I guess a couple of the Germans, people have been talking about Goretzka or Kimmich potentially leaving Bayern. Johnny Evans has just signed a short-term deal with Man United, which is a bit weird. Sofian Amrabat, although it sounds like Man United's the front runner for him. But yeah, with Thomas Partey, I just like the sooner it gets resolved, the better. Tchouameni is the appropriate replacement for Partey. Yeah, we'll talk about Tchouameni as well. Ultimately, I don't think any of them are realistic for us this summer, which I will explain. But I just think makes me respect the USA fans more, knowing they watch games at crazy times every week of the season. Yeah, them and I mean all around the world, but Australians get up at stupid hours to watch football. It's crazy. Have you got the normal kit or the authentic one? So this is the normal one. I'm going to get the authentic one and then give this to my girlfriend. No, this is the normal one, not the authentic one. Because I bought this literally the day it came out, and it took like 3 weeks for the authentic one to be released. Balogun. So I want to talk about Balogun, right? So I don't know if you saw this. So yesterday, before I went live, Mikel Arteta had spoken about Balogun, and he spoke about him very well. He said that he wanted to play Balogun in the preseason friendlies and get a good look at him. And then almost immediately after that, Balogun was interviewed himself, and he said, I think with me coming back, it's not really much of a situation where I think I need to try extra hard to prove something. I think it's a decision that's not really with me. Whatever happens, I'm cool with it. And I just, in some ways, I kind of understand what he's saying, right? The decision isn't his as to whether he's going to play. But sometimes you've just got to think about what you're saying. And saying that you don't think you need to prove yourself, or words to that effect, it's just not going to go down well. And ultimately, you do need to prove yourself. Yes, you had a very good season in Ligue 1. You still got outscored by Lacazette. And we saw him in the Premier League. And in terms of the player that he thinks he's going to replace, or he would replace, you're talking about Gabriel Jesus, who's proved himself in the Premier League, in Premier League winning sides with Man City. So, I just think it's such, you know, I don't know. It rubs me up the wrong way a little bit. And even then saying, you know, whatever happens, I'm cool with it. It's like, just a bit trying to be too cool for school. 100%, yeah. I think, yeah, basically, Ross, that's what I'm trying to say. He needs PR training. Even though I don't like PR training, and I like it when players aren't too PR driven, I think with Balogun, he's saying the things that you don't say. And normally, I wouldn't even say that's, you know, that you need PR training. I would generally consider that it's common sense that you don't go out there and say, I don't need to prove anything, because it just doesn't come across well. But Yeah. FPL Ben says, have you seen the news on Goretzka? 40 million, even if it's remotely true, we should surely look at it as an option. Yeah, well, I mean, that was what got me onto that. But apparently, well, Kimmich is... I prefer Kimmich massively as a player. But 40 million euros for Goretzka does seem like good value. It does seem like good value. The away kit's awful. It is indeed. And then the other thing on Balogun was just a repeat of what we already knew from yesterday coming from Sky. Inter Milan are exploring a deal to sign Arsenal striker Folarin Balogun, although the sides differ in their valuation. Inter Milan want to spend around £34 million and Arsenal value him at £50 million. And again, I maintain what I said. You can't let him go for 34 million. Just can't wait for Balogun to be gone. Can't stand him personally. I mean... I don't know. Sometimes I feel like he gets mischaracterized just because of the way he comes across. But, yeah. I don't know. I just think it's honestly, he's young. It honestly can just be a bit of growing up. But, having said that, if a 50 million offer came in, I'd get rid of him. I would get rid of him. The kit announcement was goated, though. Yeah, the kit announcement was great. It's just a shame the kit itself wasn't. If the kit had been as good as the announcement, we'd have been cooking. But we're not. So, on to Joao Felix, Moises Caicedo, Auriel, Tchouameni. You know, these names, big names that are doing the rounds on social media. The Joao Felix one, really, there's not a lot of sort of substance to those rumours. Obviously, Felix is in an undesirable position where he's not really wanted at Atletico Madrid, but... the money that Atletico Madrid want for him is crazy, and so there's no one really in for him either. His salary is massive as well. I did read a thing that apparently his entourage had been trying to persuade him to move to Arsenal on loan in January, but he chose Chelsea. I think he's a great player. He's versatile, like we keep saying. Arteta wants versatility in pretty much every position at this point. He is a versatile attacker. He can play centre forward. He can play off the right. But he's so expensive, and it's just one that I just, you know, for the sake of nothing other than budget this summer, I just don't see us getting it done. And there's been no, rumours or sort of gossip or links from anyone reputable just yet. Anyway, I think we'll end up regretting any Balogun sale in the long run, regardless of the price we get. No, I think if you can get him gone for 50 million and you can use that 50 million wisely this summer, you could still end up in a point where in 2 years' time he's worth 100 million, and you'd be like, well, we should have kept him, we should have played him. But sometimes you've got to make decisions like that, and the thing is, if you keep him on the bench for the next year, I don't know what sort of effect that would have on the camp, but. Would love Caicedo. He actually played some games for my team in Belgium. What team's that? I don't actually know where Caicedo played. Speaking of Caicedo, so this came from Graham Bailey. He said, we will be talking about Chelsea and Caicedo, I estimate, for a couple of weeks to come. They are firm favourites for him, but I would say keep an eye on Liverpool and Arsenal. I would not rule either of them out here. And then interestingly, Fabrizio said today, Chelsea will explore the centre-back market in the next days / weeks after Wesley Fofana's injury, only acting if they find the right option. And so this is the key, right? Chelsea are genuinely struggling to get this deal for Caicedo over the line. There's various speculation why. So today they bid 70 million as a flat fee with no add-ons. So they just bid straight up 70 million quid. And it got rejected in seconds, apparently. Brighton absolutely immediately rejected it. And Chelsea are struggling with this deal. Brighton are holding out strong. Brighton's position is Chelsea signed Enzo Fernandez for 105 million. They think that Caicedo is on the same level as Enzo Fernandez. They then look at it and they say Declan Rice is in the same boat and he went for 105 million as well. So Brighton are holding out and saying, well, Caicedo is the same value as those two, so pay up. I can imagine that's difficult for Chelsea's negotiating position, having spent 105 million on Enzo. And there is a rumour that the contract that Caicedo signed, which everyone said there was part of it where if a club came in for Caicedo, they'd let him go. There's a question about whether in that contract, the club that had to come in for Caicedo had to be a Champions League club, or even a European club, of which Chelsea are none at the moment. Because that does quite often happen in contracts. It's if a Champions League club comes in for you, we'll let you go. So that could be another reason that Chelsea is struggling to get it done. But the fact that they were already struggling to get it done, and now Wesley Fofana is injured for the entire season with an ACL, I think they might struggle. The question is, if Chelsea struggle, can Arsenal come in and get the deal done? And for 100 million quid, I think the answer to that is no. The question is, if that Champions League clause is in there, and it is to do with the Champions League, then it may open up a lower potential value that Arsenal can pay for him, which would obviously be ideal. I honestly don't know. That's pure speculation. Liverpool being in there as well would be, I don't know what sort of money Liverpool have got. One thing for sure is that to get that done, we would have to sell Balogun and Partey for good money. That's the key here. And so that would mean, potentially within the next 2 weeks, Partey and Balogun both have to be out the door, and we've got to be ready to spend that sort of money. FBL Ben says, ideally, we could sell Eddie and Balogun for around 75 million, bring in a tool target forward as a replacement. Trossard could also play third choice as a false nine. Yeah, I mean, I think we could almost get rid of Eddie and Balogun and not even bring in another striker, or maybe bring in a Joao Felix. But because I still think if you don't have Eddie and you don't have Balogun, you've still got Jesus, Trossard, and Kai Havertz. So I don't know. If Partey and Caicedo are both at Arsenal next season, who's first choice? Wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen. I think it would be Caicedo, but it wouldn't happen. There's no way we can bring in Caicedo without selling Partey for like 40 million. Not a chance. I'm actually struggling to breathe through my ribcage. We don't need another midfielder if Partey stays. We have Nwaneri coming through. Nwaneri isn't ready for Premier League and Champions League football. Not yet. I'm surprised nobody looks into signing Boubacar Kamara as a cheaper alternative to Caicedo. Well, I think we looked at it, but I think they want a lot of... I don't think they have any intention of letting Kamara go. I think that's the issue. And I don't blame them. But I don't think they've got any intention of letting him go. Dominic, good to see you as well. And then the final player of this little trio of unlikely signings for Arsenal to make is Tchouameni. And the only reason that that's come back up is because apparently Thomas Tuchel at Bayern Munich wants a number 6, and Auriel Tchouameni is at the top of his list. Initial contact with the players' camp took place. Tchouameni has asked a France teammate about Bayern. That could be any number of French teammates that play at Bayern. He can imagine a move to Munich if he's not guaranteed a starting spot at Real Madrid. There are two issues here, right? One is that Real Madrid keep on making it absolutely clear that Tchouameni's not going anywhere. And secondly is the price that Tchouameni would cost. There's no way that Real Madrid are going to take a loss on him from when they bought him. So I just do not see Tchouameni happening. If you've been watching the channel, I've never seen Tchouameni happening. The only thing that gives a glimmer of hope is that if Bayern Munich think they can do it, that opens the door to everyone. Bayern Munich are a relatively easy team to beat in the transfer market just because the Premier League's got more financial power. So... loan Tchouameni, again, I don't think that's an option. Especially to another Champions League club. If Real Madrid were going to loan out Tchouameni, I think it would be to someone like Chelsea. I think it would be to a club that's not competing with Real Madrid in a competition this season, which obviously Arsenal are in the Champions League. So I don't see it happening. So ultimately, look, I am still fairly sure that we don't sign Felix, Caicedo or Tchouameni. As much as these rumours are knocking around, I feel like there's an element of boredom in the fan base now. So the good thing about obviously it's a good thing to get those transfers done early. The thing is now is that there's this real element of, boredom, basically. Rory, do you think we have enough midfield options if Partey stays? And what do you make of the Botello link, seeing as he can play wing and midfield? I think we've got enough midfield options if Partey stays, yeah. I think next season, if you've lost Granit Xhaka and you've added Havertz and Declan Rice from the midfield that we had last season, all right, maybe you lose like Patino and even El Neni and Sambi out on loan. I do think that's a very strong midfield. Spurs started off pre-season well. Yeah, Spurs lost to West Ham 3-2 today. And actually, Spurs fielded a stronger side than West Ham did, so that was quite amusing. If Bayern signed Kane, they couldn't do another large like that. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think Bayern are going to sign Kane, but you're right. That would make it even less likely that they could do anything like that. Arsenal really thought they dropped a fire away kit, but it's actually on fire. Yeah. I can't imagine many people are going to buy that kit. And the thing is, like, people have talked about it. I think I even mentioned it. Like, some kits become iconic. You know, the old banana kit became iconic. The thing is, so many shirts are printed these days, and you move on so quickly. I don't even think it's going to become an iconic kit. I think it'll be forgotten about very quickly, because it just is not a good kit. Can't believe how much disrespect Partey gets. He was our most important player bar Odegaard last season. Yeah, for the first 70% of the season last season, Partey was very, very important. Martinelli was definitely paid to say what he said about the away kit. Well, I mean, they are literally paid to promote it. Who would you rather, Lautaro or Felix? Felix. I've never ever got on board with Lautaro Martinez. Whenever I see him play, I just think he's got that final part of his game missing. Do you think Tierney will leave? And if he does, should we sign a backup? I don't think we need a backup. If Tierney leaves, right, we still have Zinchenko. We've got Kivior. We've got Tomiyasu. I just don't think you need a replacement, truthfully. Who would be your attacking target now that Simons has gone to PSG/RB? Yeah, so Xavi Simons, annoyingly, has gone to... So he's going to sign with PSG and then go on loan to RB Leipzig, which is annoying. But, I mean, look, Felix would be an option. It's a far more expensive option. But that is the sort of player. I think someone that can flexibly move from the middle to the right-hand side. Because ultimately, I just don't think we're going to get a like-for-like backup option to Bukayo Saka. I just don't see it happening. So, in that sense, I think, yeah, I don't think Joao Felix is a possibility, but a player like Joao Felix is certainly up there. Obviously, my two options were Xavi Simons and Arda Güler, and neither of them are possible now. So, is it possible for Felix to come to Arsenal? I just don't think so. I think that I just think it's too difficult financially. I think it's too difficult financially. Easily time for Mbappe to come. No, Mbappe's next summer. Diaby. Diaby's a tricky one. Sounds like he might go to Saudi anyway. I do think. So here's a couple of not outside the box, but different options, right? That I find quite interesting. So one of them is Brennan Johnson, who apparently could move to Brentford for about 30 million. I think 30 million for Brennan Johnson, I would quite like that. I really liked watching Brennan Johnson last season. 30 million for him. Bitello, yeah, but Bitello's not someone that can play off the right. More of a midfielder. I thought Villa were in for Diaby. Villa were in for him, yeah, but I don't think anything actually progressed. What's Cedric still doing at the club? Well, at least he's not gone on tour. But yeah, so I think Brennan Johnson for 30 million would be a good option. I think... do you know what? Another interesting one, right? Alan St-Maximin, who I think struggles in a lot of areas, but I don't know. There's something about him where I'm like, it's such a wild card, but I think Newcastle probably want too much for him. And who was the other one? There was someone else that was in my mind just then as well, as another attacking option, but Dybala for 10 mil is a bargain. Possibly. Would you take Sancho for 45? Absolutely not. What part of Tchouameni is untouchable was not clear for UPL fans. Yeah, but, like, XYZ player is untouchable is just negotiation speak. You get that a lot. You get that. You get clubs all the time say a player is untouchable until the right amount of money comes in for them, and then they're touchable. The only thing ASM would bring to Arsenal is a Gucci sponsor. Yeah, but possibly. Chukwueze. Neto is another option as well. Oh, yeah, literally, Ross just said it as well. Yeah, what do you think of going in for Neto again? Wolves in need to sell. Yeah, Neto's an option. Neto is an option. If he can stay fit. Elise, I don't think is an option. I think he's too expensive. Arteta has looked to bring in an explosive winger for some time. Well, that's what I'm thinking. Gnabry, I don't think so. Chukwueze is definitely an option. I don't know how much Chukwueze would go for, though, to be fair. Rory, I'm a Chelsea fan. If we went in for Rice, he would come for us. He is a Chelsea fan. Yeah, no. He didn't want to go to Chelsea because he doesn't want to take a step backwards in his career, ultimately. And this idea that he's a Chelsea fan, you lot thought Mason Mount was like the most Chelsea boy possible. It turns out he's a Man U fan. So, you never know. At least they got a bad injury, apparently. I didn't see that. I'll look that up. Anyway, it is time for Guess the Gooner, the game where I give you an ex or current Arsenal player. I give you their career path minus the Arsenal part of it, and you have to guess who that player is. First person to get it correct in the YouTube chat gets the immense pride and respect of the Rory Talks Football community and the wider Arsenal community. So let's get into it. Guess the Gooner today. If you're watching on TikTok and you want to get involved, jump over to the YouTube stream. The link is in my bio. And we will crack right into it. So, this ex or current Arsenal player started at Philadelphia. They went to Colorado. They then went to Colorado on loan. They went to Birmingham City on loan. Who is the player? Philadelphia, Colorado on loan, Birmingham on loan. It's an easy one. Who's going to get there first? Immediately, people had to take a gamble. They heard Philadelphia and Colorado. They went Turner. Who was the first person to go trusty? It was Lawrence. Lawrence got trusty first after everyone had gone Turner. Nathan got trusty second. George Christodoulou was third. Devin was fourth. And Deadpool was fifth. But congratulations to Lawrence. You know, I respect it. Felt like a bit of a 50-50. It felt like a bit of a 50-50 once I'd given you Philadelphia and Colorado. But fair play to Lawrence. Come on, that's easy. It is easy. But look, sometimes they're going to be easy because, you know, people know Arsenal players, especially if they're current players. I was going to say Zelalem. That would have been bold. I tried to refresh because I was behind and I got an ad. Yeah, that's brutal. That's unfortunate. That is unfortunate. Seb says he got it first on his screen. No, not on my screen. Seb, you weren't even in the top 5 on my screen. So I don't know what to tell you, Seb. You weren't even top 5 on my screen, unfortunately. You were about 6th or 7th. Anyway, as an American, I'm heartbroken. I got that wrong. Devin, it's fine. It's fine. Moving on to Guess the Non-Gooner. This is where I give you a player that has never played for Arsenal, doesn't play for Arsenal. I give you their full career path, and you have to guess who it is. So, this Guess the Non-Gooner started their career at Real Madrid. They went to Juventus. They went to Real Madrid. They went to Chelsea. They went to Atletico Madrid on loan. They went to Atletico Madrid permanently. They went to Juventus on loan. And they're currently at Atletico Madrid. Who is the player? Real Madrid, Juventus, Real Madrid, Chelsea, Atletico Madrid on loan. Atletico Madrid permanently, Juventus on loan, currently at Atletico Madrid. And a lot of you have got it right. It is the man with the most bloody high-value sales transfers in football history. It is indeed Alvaro Morata, and the first person to get it right was It's J Key. It's J Key, got it correct. Morata, Jake Madaford was second, Deadpool was third, Devin was fourth, and Francesco Oliveira was fifth. Yeah, Alvaro Morata, who seemingly is going to be on the move again this summer. I genuinely don't understand how he just maintains this high market value and continues to go for like 35 million, 40 million. It's baffling. Deadpool's claiming he was first, but but not on my screen, unfortunately, Deadpool. You were third on my screen, Deadpool. So it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Was first on my screen. It's unlucky. It's unlucky. Bit of a random one. What about David Neres? What? Do you know what? I feel like David Neres kind of just dropped off the face of the earth. I feel like I've not seen him play in ages. He's a Ponzi scheme. He is literally a money laundering scheme. He is a money laundering scheme. Why are we discussing selling Partey? We have one good season in years, and our fans are getting carried away. Well, we're discussing it because it's being discussed in the media. That there's not a. I'm not just saying we should sell Partey for no reason. Like, we know for a fact, Arsenal are open to letting him go if the money is correct, and there are teams both in Europe and Saudi that are interested in him. We can't not discuss it when it's part of the news. And I agree with you. I think we should keep Thomas Partey. I don't think we should sell him. So yeah, we got to talk about it because it exists. Nico Williams, not for me. Not for me. Not yet. Not yet. Might be unpopular, but Morata's always been overhated. I don't know. I don't think he's overhated. I mean, I'm sure he's overhated in some sections, but he kind of deserves it for the amount of money that he keeps going for and just never being that good. Rory, I know you are scared of Spurs. Can't wait to beat you at the Emirates. Genuinely, I am probably less... not that I've ever been scared of Spurs, but probably within the last decade, I fear Spurs the least now than at any point in the last decade. I think you're going to see a massive issue at Spurs moving to a back four this season. The fact you conceded 3 today against West Ham, and I mean, I saw the third goal that went in. The defending was absolutely abysmal. I think you're in trouble. Opinions on Diaby? Good player, very good player. I think he'll be too expensive for us this summer. All right, Henry, you don't need to spam it. Is Gabri Vega a possibility this summer? Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of talk about Gabri Vega early in the summer, and that a lot of that seems to have kind of died down at this point. So I don't know what the situation is with him. Because I remember hearing like Liverpool were interested, Chelsea were interested. I've not heard Arsenal being linked to him in a while now, so I would assume we're not that interested. Yeah. Why would you be scared of Spurs at this point in time? Genuinely. I think Spurs will be... I mean, Spurs will get top half, but nothing better than that. And Chelsea are in the mud. Chelsea are in the mud. I mean, I was looking at it, right? So now they've got... Fofana's out for the season. So the only centre-backs they've got are Thiago Silva, who, at his age, you can drop off very quickly. We saw it with, Cristiano Ronaldo is a great example. So you can drop off very quickly at his age. And then they've got Colwill, who is fantastic, but still young and still has, a lot to work on. You've got Badiashile, who's also young, very, very good player. And then you've got Trevor Chalobah, and that's it as centre-back options. So I think Chelsea... And then you look at the midfielders that they've taken on tour. It's baffling. It's baffling. Their squad looks worse now than it did 2 years ago, and they've spent like 600 million quid on it. It's absolutely crazy. But my ribcage is actually really quite sore. If Caicedo was to go to Chelsea, who do you think would be the next best thing as a Partey replacement? I mean, it would be someone like Tchouameni. But again, in terms of someone that's actually realistic, I think you're probably looking at Lavia being one of the better options. But again, I think if you were talking about one individual season next season, I think I'd rather have Partey than Lavia. I do think Dennis Zakaria is a good option. I don't know where he's going to end up, but I do think he's a good option. Sorry, Fabrizio. Thanks for the update. You're welcome. You're welcome. We cannot let Thomas go. It's as simple as that. Yeah, I mean... The thing is, if you get 40 million for him, next summer he's probably worth less than 20. So it might be the sort of thing that you have to do. It might be the sort of thing that you have to do. Hope Timber gets a lot of playing time. He's special. I'm sure he will. I do think Timber will get a lot of playing time. I think you're naive in underestimating Chelsea and Spurs. I just don't think I am. I look at the way those teams finished last season, right? And so far this summer, I think they've had worse summer windows than Arsenal. Than if Man United get Onana, which they've basically just done, and Højlund, and obviously they got Mount. Liverpool are rebuilding their midfield. I just think, I think they could end up even further behind. I genuinely do. And that's only my opinion. So, I may well be wrong. But it's just my opinion. It's just my opinion. Spurs will finish 9th, no joke. Well. Look, at some point in the next couple of weeks, I will put out a video which is predicting the full 1 to 20. The full 1 to 20. And, I don't think Spurs are going to be inside the top 7. I don't think Spurs are going to be inside the top 7. My current top 4 prediction is Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United. In that order. That's my current top 4 prediction. Nkunku, Caicedo, Jackson are probably more signings while getting rid of half our worst team ever. How will we cope? Yeah, but you're saying half of our worst team ever, but that worst team ever you spent 600 million on. I don't think you seem to sort of learn the lesson. Now you're talking about Jackson. Jackson is completely unproven in the Premier League. Nkunku, completely unproven in the Premier League. The assumption that those signings are just going to work. Zagrova from Lille. I think they want a fair bit of money for him. To be honest, he's a player that I've seen very little of. I could not give you much information about Zagrova at all. Rory, I still see us winning the double. I hope you're right. I do hope you're right. Do you see a future for Trusty? Probably not. I was thinking about this. In terms of, even if you just look at the squad, in terms of how many players there's room for, you've got, as centre-backs, you've got Saliba, Gabriel, Timber, Kivior, Ben White, Tomiyasu. You've effectively got 3 players worth of depth at left centre-back and right centre-back. I just don't know if Trusty stays. Rory, United are signing Mount, Højlund, Onana. I think they're better than you. Okay. I disagree, but fair play. We should sell Cedric to Chelsea or Spurs. Well, this is the funny thing as well about Chelsea, right? So Harry Maguire is now being linked to Chelsea. I think they'd be better off taking Rob Holding. I think they'd be better off taking Rob Holding. So, look, if Chelsea want Rob Holding, 5 million? 5 million? That's a deal? For you, Chelsea? Would you take Felix? Yeah, I would take Felix, but I don't think we'll get him. Spurs aren't doing anything. If I were a new manager, I'd fix up the youth team, set up a style of play, change certain habits while staying in the top 6 biding your time. Well, that's kind of what we did. Well, we didn't stay in the top 6, but I'm a bit worried about the outgoings because they aren't any heavy rumours. Yeah, apparently, so Holding was actually potentially close to... Holding was potentially close to Besiktas, but that's not going to happen now. So that is quite annoying. Anyway, that is going to be the end of the stream. I am struggling to talk at this point. But I massively appreciate you all for tuning in as always. I hope you have a fantastic evening. We will be back tomorrow. When is the next Arsenal game? Arsenal fixture. Is it tomorrow? Is it tomorrow evening? Oh no, someone was right. It is. It's 1:30 in the morning. The MLS All-Star game's at 1:30 in the morning. So it's tomorrow. It's basically tomorrow night, isn't it? Look, we might be live for it. We might be live for it on whisper mode. We'll see. I'll probably go live at 5 like normal tomorrow, and we'll have a normal stream. And then I might be back at 1:30 in the morning for a watch along. Maybe. We'll see how I feel. To be honest, at the moment, I can't sleep with my rib the way it is, so we might just have to power through it. But look, that is the end of the stream. I do massively appreciate you all for tuning in. If you've not subscribed, please do, bottom right-hand corner, smash a like on the stream as well before you drop off. That would be greatly appreciated. Have a good evening, and cheers.